Thank you so much, Tom. Michael, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, thanks for that wonderfully warm introduction. You're right about the two jobs. That's just the morning shift. We didn't get a chance to speak about the afternoon shift when some of the other jobs get added. I have so many fond memories of my time on the board of the Ontario Centres of Excellence, not simply because of the fabulous people I worked with, but also because I had such a sense in a relatively short period of time, 2009, 2010, that the best was yet to come. And what I've seen today, of course, in the expression of now my grandchildren, it blows my mind. As a matter of fact, I was with 19 of the finalists in the high school competition, and this could apply to all the young people who are assembled here in this place. And my remark was, never has so much talent been gathered in one place than when Thomas Jefferson dined alone. J'ai voyagé partout au pays et dans le monde en tant que gouverneur général et administrateur d'une université. Well, I guess innovation is an ecosystem, Jerry, and I quote a very learned gentleman who once said to me, it's not push and it's not pull. Yes, it's clearly not just from basic science to experiment to application to commercialization. It's at least back and forth on that road, but it's very messy. It's more than push and pull. It's a constant dynamic system where elements are coming from other places. It's also messy, and it can't be done top down. My friend Jerry Sullivan would say, it's best done if you engender an ecosystem where ideas are constantly bubbling up. And so I would say in the innovation ecosystems that I visited around the world, each one is a little different, each with its own flavor. But what stands at the heart of it is that bubbling up of talent, that uncontained exuberance. In California, Silicon Valley, people are always trying to analyze that, and there are probably 7 or 8 elements, and you don't get them all, but one is it's a magnet for the best talent from around the world. And the reason for that is very strong universities, both public and private universities. Bob Bergeneau, former president of the University of Toronto, later chancellor of Berkeley, I was with Bob, a week ago, speaking and commenting, saying exactly that if you listed the top 20 universities in the world, probably 4 of them are in California. Bob held up 6 fingers, 6. And they're both public and private. So that's clearly an important ingredient. But, it's creating that atmosphere where ideas move very quickly. We were in China and Mongolia about 7 or 8 months ago. I'd been to China many times, but never to Mongolia. I learned more about Genghis Khan. I had studied him in my history as a conquistador that moved out of Mongolia, conquered China, came all the way to Europe, and he stopped at Vienna because Western Europe in the 12th century, 13th century, was a backwater. There was nothing worth plundering, so he stopped. But what he did was, he didn't destroy empires that he conquered. He left their religions, their languages, their cultures, and trade in place. And following him, there was a great circulation of ideas. So much so that some scholars believe Genghis Khan was responsible for taking Europe out of the back ages and introducing what became the Industrial Revolution and causing it to pass those older civilizations that had been much more prosperous of India, Islam, and China. And the scholars that write this say there are 4 things that came in the wake of Genghis Khan and the exchange of ideas. One was the stirrup. You have to think about that a little bit. The second was gunpowder. The third was the compass, and the fourth was printing press. So, Jerry, I think the key is you create an atmosphere where ideas put into practical use can occur very quickly. What do we well? We have I think the most accessible public education system in the world, a great Canadian triumph. And our challenge is to have equality of opportunity and excellence too, to see those as not conflicting but mutually reinforcing objectives. Our danger is complacency. We live in a very comfortable country, in a very comfortable place, and it's new immigrants that bring energy to us, and thank heavens we have that, but I think all of us have to be conscious of not being complacent and continuing to create, one, that ecosystem where ideas circulate very frequently, but where there is a drive to take those ideas and put them into practical purposes, both goods and services. Bear in mind, innovation is not the idea. Innovation is taking an existing idea, or maybe a relatively new idea, and applying it to existing things to do them differently and better. From your book, you said that you were involved in solar in Tanzania. How exciting it is to go and be in a different country, in a different culture, to innovate, to make things better. I've seen it with my own children. We have 5 daughters, and at age 12, they began international exchanges, now been to 30 or so countries. And what I saw in them causes me to say that if I had one wish for every Canadian university and college student, it would be to spend a year abroad in a practical work situation, either for a for-profit organization or for a not-for-profit and volunteer, or an academic institution, more than just traveling, preferably in a language other than your own, because it helps your mind to grow. With my children, I think 3 things I've observed in them, the best part of their education. One is, I guess they had a natural curiosity, but every child does. Every child is always asking why, and parents say, don't ask anymore. They should say, ask more. They had a curiosity for the difference, and that was accentuated by visits to other cultures, so that it enhanced their natural curiosity and enhanced their critical thinking, that they would ask those questions. The second thing that happened to them is their basis of judgment and the avoidance of stigma and the avoidance of preconceived ideas disappeared, because they looked at things from 2 different angles. They would see it through the lens of another culture. And thirdly, they just became wiser. Normally, life experience teaches wisdom. You learn to make judgments based on a variety of past experiences. When you have experiences in different cultures, then I think that wisdom is enhanced. And I would say the same is true of social innovation. A great stimulus to that is being able to deal with the different, with the other, and see it not as a stranger but as a friend. I think we're seeing a lot of interesting developments in social innovation. During my time at Waterloo, for example, we developed SIG, Social Innovation Generation, led by Florence Wesley. We're seeing very interesting advances in social capital, applying traditional capital-raising methods to social innovation. Increasingly, governments, particularly at the provincial and the local level, are using social innovation, and our non-governmental sector is as well. I'll just finish by saying in my installation address as Governor General, I spoke about a smart and caring nation, a call to service, with 3 pillars: family and children, learning and innovation, philanthropy and volunteerism. And I see those themes which we've emphasized in our work coming together: smart and caring nation and social innovation. My dream for Canada would be that all of us would embrace that notion of being smart and caring as part of the DNA that makes Canada. And of course, that would be constantly innovating to improve the situation of our neighbors and our citizens right across the country.